All right, welcome to today's class on DocuSign 101. My name is Leah with Scott Leroy Marketing, and in today's class, we'll be going through just that, your DocuSign account, which is a very hot topic now that KW will be transitioning away from dotloop and over to DocuSign. So I'll be showing you how that integrates with KW Command and how you can start utilizing that right away to start creating offers, sending those off to your clients to be electronically signed. So the first thing that you'll want to do, and actually where you go to access DocuSign, is KW command. So that will be agent.kw.com is where you'll go to log into command. Again, that's agent.kw.com. And the MyKW username and password here, so to log into command, that will be the same username and password you've logged in with to mykw.kw.com, also to your Kelly app. So they're trying to streamline everything to make all of your usernames and passwords the same. Thank heaven, because if you're anything like me, a million passwords to remember makes me want to tear my hair out. So the less passwords, the better. So we'll want to go ahead and use that same username and password. If you're not sure what that password is, we have this lovely forgot password option here. And of course, if you need help resetting your password, feel free to email support@scottleroymarketing.com. We'd be happy to help you reset the password right away. All right, so we'll go ahead and click sign in. Now I'm going to be drawing a lot of similarities to dotloop today, since DocuSign is very similar to dotloop, okay, and that's of course what you've been comfortable using in the past. Now, very much so like dotloop, how you would always log into mykw.kw.com and click Start My Transactions. Okay, kind of the same concept. You'll always log into command in order to access your DocuSign account through the opportunity section. Okay, and we'll be doing that in just a moment here. But that opportunity section is the little handshake icon on the left-hand side. All right, but first things first, let's make sure that your DocuSign account is connected to KW Command, because that will need to be the first step done in order to utilize DocuSign through Command. Now to do that, go ahead and click on your name on the very top right of your screen. So click on your name on the very top right, and we're going to want to go ahead and click on Settings from that drop-down. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click on Settings here. Now, when I do that, it immediately takes me over to my connected apps, as you can see here. So Command has the ability to connect different apps up to it, so you can utilize that. A big one to make sure that is connected, especially for today's class, is DocuSign. All right, now if you're not seeing that on the top of your list, that most likely means that it's not connected to your account. So all connected apps will be at the top of your screen, but if you scroll down further, you may see DocuSign in a category below. I believe it was in productivity before I connected that up. All right, so if you're seeing connect account to the right of DocuSign, you of course want to go ahead and click on that so you can connect up your DocuSign account. If you are seeing like on my screen where I have it at the top and I have disconnect account option, that means it's already connected to your command account and you can go ahead and leave it, so you're good to go. If you do need to connect up account, first of all, I have a video on how to do that, so let me send that over. All right, so that video right there that I just sent out, you can save for later. That's how you would go ahead and link up your DocuSign account to KW Command, so that's a great thing to watch. You will need to go ahead and do that in order to follow along in today's class, all right? But you can always watch instead if you would like. Now, it is important for you to know your DocuSign username and password, as I am seeing that it's still prompting you to log into DocuSign from command. So make note of what your DocuSign email address is so you have that on hand. All right, so we do need to make sure DocuSign is connected. And if you need to click to connect account, it'll take you through some prompts to send off an authorization email to your account so you can authorize that right away. Now let's go ahead and take a look at how you actually get into your DocuSign account from command. So as I mentioned previously, that is through the opportunities. So I'll go ahead and click on the handshake icon on the left-hand side. All right, so go ahead and click on this handshake icon. If you have not been in the opportunities section before, just to briefly overview what this section does, this is going to be a visual sales pipeline for you. So this will allow you to see where your contacts are in the sales pipeline. So if you have your contacts, let's say we have listings section, we have a buyers section, also leases. So it'll break down each of your sales pipelines that way. And you'll also have 5 different stages here that your contact can go through in this opportunity. Okay, so this first one is cultivate. Whoops, didn't mean to click on that. Is cultivate, and that's just like this little icon is showing you. That's where you're trying to grow the relationship, like this cute little plant. Okay, so maybe you just met them, you're an acquaintance, but you're trying to cultivate that lead and turn them into an appointment. Once they have been turned into an appointment, you'll be able to move them down the sales pipeline, of course, then to when you have an active listing under contract, and our favorite phase, closed. All right. So these right here is how you'll take your opportunity through. And I really like this because it allows me to see, okay, if I have, let's say 5 different contacts in this cultivate phase, that means I need to do some action items to get that contact or that opportunity over to the appointment phase. Okay, and we do have a class on this opportunities pipeline specifically. So feel free to check out slmtraining.com for an overview on how you can utilize this to help your productivity, because it's a really, really great tool that you can start using right away. All right, so to create a new opportunity, and that is the first step in creating a DocuSign room, it's called. We'll be talking way more about that. But first of all, you do need to have a contact in your database. So your contact would need to be in your database first in Command. So that's through the contact section here. So they would need to be added here first to create an opportunity. So let's go ahead and do that so you guys can create a test contact to create an opportunity and work on DocuSign. So go ahead and click on the contacts option on the left-hand side. And just a quick note as you're starting to learn this menu on the left side of Command, okay, you can always click on this KW logo on the very top left, and it will show you what each one of these icons does, which I find very useful in starting to learn these icons and my navigation around Command. And you can always click that again to resend it. And also, you can hover your mouse over each one of these icons and you'll see a little black speech bubble that tells you what that section does, so you can learn the navigation that way as well if you prefer. All right, so let's go ahead and add in a test contact that we can use for today's class. So you would simply click Add Contact on the very top right. And it's really great to add yourself as a contact to do test items, so you can, send yourself documents from DocuSign so you can see what it looks like from a client's perspective. Always great to practice on yourself first before actually applying this to a client. So it looks like you know what you're doing when you actually go to it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put in, we'll do Ronald Weasley for today's class for any Harry Potter fans. All right, so I'll go ahead and put a first and last name and an email address. So we'll do Ron Weasley. Ooh, how about Ron at Hogwarts.com? Very official. All right, so we have a name and an email address. Of course, I would recommend you guys putting in maybe yourself and an external email address that you might have, like a personal email, so you can see what that looks like. And then click Create. So that's all you need to do to add in a test contact here. Go ahead and click Create. All right, and that will have added in that contact. So I can now go on over to my opportunities section to start an opportunity for Mr. Ronald Weasley. So I'll go ahead and click on, again, the handshake icon on the left-hand side. And we'll want to come up to create opportunity. Okay, so again, we are clicking on the handshake icon on the left-hand menu. It's like you're doing a deal with them to help you remember that. And then we'll click on Create Opportunity on the top right. Now when I click on Create Opportunity, this pop-up will display, prompting us for some information. We have to fill in any fields that have the red asterisk, just a heads up. If it does not have a red asterisk, you do not have to fill it in if it doesn't apply. Okay, so Market Center here at the top, if you are an agent that's a part of more than one Market Center, you can go ahead and select which Market Center from that dropdown. You can select your team name here if you're a part of a team. Opportunity type here, you will need to select whether that's a listing or a buyer or a landlord tenant. right? But so I'll go ahead and do a listing for today's class. And this is where you need to go ahead and associate it to a client. So this is where they'll need to go ahead and be in your contact database to be able to add them in. All right, so I'll go ahead and click on that contact's name. So as you saw, I just started typing in the contact's name, and it will start suggesting different options of contacts that are currently in your database to select from. If there's a spouse in the transaction, you can go ahead and add them in here. Let's see if I have a spouse. All right, so if there was a spouse, you can follow that same steps there. And opportunity names, let's talk about that. So it will always default on the client's last name and then dash listing or buyer. It's very similar to .loop, how if you do know the property address, so if this is a listing, go ahead and name it the property address. Okay, it works best if you add in the property address here. And this loop name, this opportunity name, obviously I'm in the habit of looping it, but this opportunity name will be able to be changed at any time. So this is not set in stone. So go ahead and change this. Let's say 1204 DocuSign Rocks Drive. Right, you can always put the contact's name at the end as well. You can add custom tags for this opportunity to make it easier to find, an estimated close date, listing price, commission rate. Okay, you can see that these fields are not asterisked, right? You don't see a red asterisk, so it's not mandatory. If you don't know that information, no problem. Okay, but we have the opportunity phase here. These phases, again, are what I was showing you guys, how there's a cultivate, appointment, active, under contract, and closed, right? Those 5 on our pipeline there. So you're designating where you want this to start. Cultivate phase will be the very first phase to start them in, and that's growing the relationship. But if you already have an appointment or if they're already active, you can go ahead and put them in one of these as well. But I'll go ahead and leave it in the cultivate phase. All right, you can also go ahead and give it an opportunity stage. Yours will probably be different in here because I customize these. And again, check out the opportunities class on slmtraining.com, and that'll teach you how to customize these further to make it your own. All right, and I'll go ahead and click Create Opportunity right here. All right, but just in case you're wondering, you can leave it on the first one. That's totally fine. And click Create Opportunity. Okay, so now that I have created the opportunity, it will take me immediately into the back end of the opportunity. So this is very similar to like the details section of .loop, where it does have all the details of the listing in here. Now I can always click on this pencil icon. Anytime you see this pencil icon within Command, that does give you the option to edit it. So if you need to edit this information, you can do that right here. So really all of this information is editable. The only item you're not able to change once you create an opportunity is the contact that it's associated with, okay? So make sure that is good to go. Other than that, you can edit anything in here. Right, you can edit the seller worksheet and so forth. And actually in this document section right here, so on the top toolbar, this document section is where you will go to access DocuSign. We'll be doing that in just a moment here. All right, and I'll be showing you how you can add documents to Command as well to send that off for compliance review, and we'll be doing that near the end of class, but we'll be coming back to this document section, very important. Just a heads up before we move into DocuSign, I do want to tell you that you do have the option to add your offers in here. Okay, so once you have a submitted executed offer, you can add that in right here. And once you do that, once you have submitted an offer in here, you will then be able to access the new Command green sheet. Okay, so this right here, you can see it's grayed out where it says commissions. It's grayed out because I don't have any offers in quite yet. But once I add an offer in, I'll then be able to click commissions to fill out the new Command green sheet. And of course, check with your office to see if they are still utilizing the green sheet within MyKW, or when they want you to switch over to Command, they will guide you to that. Each office has a slightly different policy going on right now, depending on if your market center extended their contract with .loop. All right, and lastly, you can go ahead and add notes if you need to jot down any notes for this opportunity specifically. So you can do that right here. So let's go ahead and navigate on into DocuSign, and we would do that by clicking on the Documents option on the top toolbar. Okay, and for right now, let's ignore these forms here because we're going to come back to that at the end of class. So ignore that, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at the start transaction up here. Okay, so if you have one that says, the other wording is, I think, go to transactions, or it might say start a transaction. So if you haven't started a DocuSign room, it's called, for this opportunity, it will say start a transaction. If you already have in the past, it might say go to a transaction. Either way, takes you to the same spot. Just a heads up, if you do have this drop down, okay, you might have the option for DocuSign or .loop. Again, that's depending on if your market center has extended their contract with .loop and if you've linked that up to your command account. But of course, today's class is on DocuSign. So I'll go ahead and click on Start a Transaction here and select the DocuSign option. All right, so when I do that, it will pull up another tab. So now you can see at the top of my screen, I have two tabs, one for command and one to sign into DocuSign. So in theory, we're hoping that it will just log you right into DocuSign. I haven't seen that working consistently, so you may need to go ahead and log into your DocuSign account here. Just a heads up. So hopefully that'll link up in the future so you don't have to put in your password again. But go ahead and put in your DocuSign username, whatever email address you're using for DocuSign, and click Continue. And we'll go ahead and put in our password here. Of course, you have that Forgot Password option at the bottom. If you need to reset your DocuSign password, it sends over a verification code to your email so you can change that right away. And we'll click Login. All right, so we'll go ahead and click Login. And that will immediately take you over to your DocuSign room. Okay, so you've probably been hearing that term, a DocuSign room. I heard that so many times before I actually started playing with DocuSign and learning it. I was like, what is a room? Okay, so I'm just going to try and draw some connections for you to parallel it to .loop to make sense of this new platform here. So a DocuSign room is literally the exact same thing as a .loop loop. So where in .loop you had a bunch of loops for each separate transaction you had in DocuSign, you're going to have different rooms for all of your transactions. Okay, so literally the same exact thing, just a slightly different term. So let's take a trip around your new DocuSign room so you can start to learn navigation before we add in any documents. So first of all, let's start on the top here. I'm going to start on the details section. Okay, this details section here is very, very much like the view details section within .loop, whereas if you put any information in here, it will autofill onto interactive forms that you bring into your DocuSign room. All right, so you can scroll down to see the different items that you can add in, and you'll see the red asterisk that is indicating that it is required to close. So to edit that, we see our lovely pencil icon on the top right here. Right, that pencil icon always means edit. So I'll go ahead and click on that. So let's fill in some items so you can see what it looks like when it autofills. So a question that I've seen come in is, will this information pull from the opportunity within command? Not quite yet from what we have seen, but we're hoping that will happen soon. Okay, so if you enter in some listing details in the opportunity within command, that still would need to be re-entered into DocuSign in order to autofill on your forms. And if that hurts your brain, no worries, I'll be showing you exactly what this section does. All right, so we can change the name of the room at any time. So you can change that right here. You can also change the side. So if initially you're doing the listing, but then you bring the buyer to the table, you can change that to the list and buy side right from here. All right, some room information, so you can add in all of this information here, but there are no red asterisks, so we do not have to fill in this information. Okay, down here, let's go ahead and put in some address information just so you can see what it looks like when it pulls onto the form itself. All right, so I'm just going to put in the address. You can make it 123 Main Street. You can make it your home address, whatever you want it to be. All right, well, city, county, Mecklenburg. Just going to put in some practice information just so you guys can fully see this. All right, we have, well, I don't live in North Dakota, North Carolina here, 2277. Okay, whatever information you'd like to fill in. And that is, I believe, the last piece of required information here, but you can scroll down to see the other information that you can enter in. The great part about this section, A, it's a huge time saver, right, because it autofills onto every form that you bring in. But B, if you're a newer agent and you are looking at these forms, right, some of our forms are like 10 pages long, depending on where you are, what state you're in. All right, and it's very overwhelming as a new agent to know where the information goes on the form. All right, so if you put the information in here, right, where it straight up prompts you for it, DocuSign knows where on the form to place that information. So it's a great learning tool, and as an experienced agent, it saves you lots of time. All right, so you can put in offer details, offer date, contract amounts, earnest money amount, okay, and so forth. So you can go through and fill in this information if you would like to. On the top right here, okay, so this in the middle is all of the property information, but on the right we have the seller information or the client's information. So if I go ahead and put in, let's say, Ronald Weasley, and I'll put in his email address, ron@hogwarts.com. Let's see if anyone has that email address. Okay, you can put in their phone number and so forth as well. And again, all of this information will autofill on the form wherever that's required. Okay, and you can do the same for seller too under here. Now, once I have this information filled in, I can click Save on the bottom right. This is where I would recommend starting, by the way, guys. I would recommend starting in the details section every time you create a new room so that all of this information autofills onto your form. With that being said, I'm going to move across the top here. But next we have the document section. And I'll be skipping this for just a moment here and we'll come back. Of course, this is the big section that you'll be spending most of your time in, is the document section. So this is where you'll be adding forms to your DocuSign room. It's where you'll be editing any interactive forms that you might have in your account. Okay, so this is, again, where you would go to view forms, add forms, edit your forms as well if those are interactive. We'll come back here. Let's scoot on over to the people section though. All right, this people section, again in dot loop, right? There was a people section in the bottom of your loop where we'll always show you yourself. You will always be in every DocuSign room, and your office staff will be in the DocuSign room as well. Okay, so you'll see your staff here. You can simply click invite on the top right. Oops, sorry, that was a little fast. You can click invite on the top right, that blue button there, to add your clients to the room. So if I go ahead and click invite on the top right, I'll put in my contact's email address. Okay, so when I put in my contact's email address here, and again, you guys can do a personal email address that you have so that you can see what it looks like when your contacts receive forms from DocuSign if you would like. I find that useful if your contact calls you or your client calls you. It's like, help, I don't know what I'm doing. Right? It's helpful if you've gone through it once as a client view so you can help guide them. It is very, very easy for your clients to sign these forms, and I'll show you what that looks like as well. All right, so you can go ahead and click invite here. You can invite and save to save this contact to your address book. That seems like a good thing to do. All right, we'll put in their name, Ronald Weasley. And you'll see that all these fields have a red asterisk indicating that those are required. So it will not allow you to save it without entering in these pieces of information. Transaction side, so this is the seller. So I can go ahead and put that in. Or of course, you can indicate one of the other roles. So we're going for the list side here, for the transaction side. And now we have the role and we have client. Okay, that's the only role I have. I believe that'll be the same for you. So go ahead and select client. And you can click invite. And that will add your client to the room. All right, so now I see my client has been added to the room. Okay, and if there was a spouse in the transaction, you would do the same thing. I'm going to do that really quick. You guys do not have to. I just want you guys to be able to see what it looks like when I have more than one contact in a room. Oops, sorry. Well, that's not the right order. So we have email first. You have to get used to that. Then the name, transaction sides. I'm going through the same steps here, just real quick, guys, just so I can show you what it looks like. Because a lot of times you'll have a husband and a wife selling a home, so it's great for you to see both in this example here. So I'll go ahead and invite this person as well. And now I see the husband and the wife added to the room. Okay, this is actually my mom, so she is married to Ron Weasley. What a lucky guy. All right. So now that we did that in the people section, so it's great to go ahead and add your people, add your clients to the people section here, as it will make it easier for you to allow them to sign the documents once we've created those. So we'll be going to that next. All right, I know it's exciting stuff. Envelopes. This is where, and you can see right here, you can send your clients the actual documents to sign. So think of it like you're putting it in the mail in an envelope to send it to your clients to have them sign it, right? Old school, snail mail. All right, same concept. Envelope, this is where we'll go to actually do the electronic signatures and send that off. So we'll take a look at that in just a second, of course. We have a messages section here, right? So you can, if you need to message each other within this actual DocuSign room, you do have the ability to do that. And we also have the history section here, so you can see everything that was done in the room. Okay, when contacts were added, when your client signed a form, if they viewed a form, okay, you can see the time and date as well on the right-hand side. Okay. All right, so let's go on over to the document section. And again, this is where you'll be spending most of your time within your DocuSign room. It's in this document section. And this is where we'll be adding in documents to be able to edit those. All right, so first things first, we would do that. So again, I'm in documents here, and I will go ahead and add in a new document, like you might have guessed, by clicking add on the top right, that big blue button there. Okay, so some options that you might have here. Okay, first of all, if you have, let's say, a listing agreement or that offer saved to your computer as a PDF, you can pull that in from the computer option, and I'll be showing you that as well. I'm going to start with interactive forms, but I'll show you how to add a PDF as well, so hold tight on the computer option. DocuSign forms, this is where you would access the interactive forms, and when I say interactive, I mean you can just start typing in the forms like you probably utilized in dotloop. Okay. So DocuSign is working with all market centers to work on getting all the forms into your DocuSign account to make them interactive so that you can just type right in them. So we'll be actually doing that first in today's class. But we do have some other options here. You can hook up your zip form account. If you have a zip form account, you could hook that up there. And you can also pull in forms from Box, Dropbox, and Google Drive, okay, if you would like to. Those options are there for you. But let's go ahead and click on the DocuSign Forms option instead. So again, we're clicking Add on the top and select DocuSign Forms. And this is how we go about getting to our interactive forms that we can just type in. Now, the first box that you'll see will generally prompt you to add in your NERD's ID. Okay, so if you see your association from this list here, you can go ahead and select that. And put in your NERD's ID, and that would bring in interactive forms that are associated with your association. Okay, so you do have that option. A couple notes on that. Your name has to be the exact same in your DocuSign account as it is as associated with NRDS, okay? So if you, let's say, have Junior at the end of your name, or your name is William, but you go by Bill, okay, it would need to be consistent in your DocuSign account. You would need to have literally the same exact name, hyphens, everything in DocuSign as you do in NRDS in order to link up the account. Okay, that's the most common issue. If you don't know your NERD's ID, you can search for it right here. Okay, and if you're having trouble hooking this up, feel free to email support@scottleroymarketing.com. I know it's a little tricky, so we're happy to help you with that. You don't have this? Okay, you might be going right to the next screen. So if you don't have this, no worries, just hold tight on that. All right. Oh, and I'll be showing you near the end of class as well how to change your name in DocuSign so that you can change it to whatever NRDS has in order to link that up. Okay, but in my case, I'm not going to go ahead and put that in. I'll just go ahead and click continue without NERD's validation. Okay, that blue link that says continue without nerds validation. All right. Now, if you are being brought to a next screen that says something like you do not have access to any forms, it's like a little red message I've seen in some accounts. That just means that DocuSign is still working with your Market Center to make those all interactive. So you might not have interactive forms at this time. And that's okay if not. I'll be showing you also how to add PDFs to DocuSign and edit them and get them signed as well. All right, but first I'm going to show you interactive forms. So if you do have those, great, you can follow along. If you do not, just go ahead and watch because you will have these in the near future and then you'll know how to do it. All right, so first things first, we do have two options here. At least I do on my screen. I have a library, which will show me all of the forms, and then I have groups. All right, so I have two different options here. All right, your groups are created by your Market Center staff. So for example, if I leave it on library, I can then select the library from here and select my association to view all forms within that association. All right, just to show you what the groups look like. So if I change that to groups, my Market Center has given me the option. So you'll notice that once I select an option from the top dropdown, it then changes the option from the second dropdown. So when I click to select groups, and this will look different on your screen, right? Because this is done by my Market Center. So your Market Center will have this set up slightly different, most likely, especially not the NC part. Okay, so you can select by group, right? My Market Center has grouped all the listing forms, sales forms, and termination forms separately to make it easier for me to find. Okay, but if I just want to view all forms, that I have the option. I'm just trying to find a form. I can just go ahead and leave it on the library so I know that these are all the forms. Okay, of course you have the select all option. Like if you have a group, you can select all of them and add them to your DocuSign room right away. Or you can use this search bar here to search for the form you're looking for. So I'm going to bring in a listing agreement for today's class just to practice. So I can search by the word listing. Okay, whatever your form is named. I know that's different depending on the region or state you're in. So if you do have some forms in here, really you can click any one you want. It should be the same concept in learning how to do this. Okay, so you can simply click the checkbox to the left of whichever forms you want to bring in. So you can see you can do multiple at a time as well. And click add to add that form to your loop right away. And again, if you are not seeing these interactive forms, I will be showing you next how to add a PDF so you can edit it that way as well. So hold tight, just watch this scenario if that's the case in your account. All right, so I'm clicking add. And that will successfully add in the form. So I have that added in. All right, now to be able to edit this form, all I need to do is click on it. So all I did, I just clicked on the form. And it takes a second to open, but it will open that on your screen with editable fields, meaning I can simply click on the field to start typing, right? So I indicated that I had a second client. So I'm going to go ahead and click to start typing in my second client here. So for text fields, it is as simple as clicking to start typing. This is very similar to how DocuSign was, right? Okay, so you can fill in any fields like that, right? Any checkbox fields you can simply click on to select. All right, so those are the main items. Our text box fields, from what I've seen at least, and any checkboxes. So what you would do first in this case is go through the entire form to fill it out, okay, if you were actually doing this. Now you'll notice, right, like my client's name auto-filled and I have the address that auto-filled, right? This is auto-filling from the details section where we started our DocuSign room. All right, so you can see that it's already saving me time because I don't have to go ahead and add that back in. So that's how it will autofill onto your form, but you can go through and fill out all of the information on the form. Once you are done, and just heads up, there is a thumbnails option as well. Like this form is 11 pages. Goodness gracious, all right. It's quite excessive, but you can scroll through on the left hand, or right hand side here rather, and click on the page you would like to go to navigate on over to that page right away. to make it a little faster if you're trying to go through the form. All right. So now once I have this filled in, right, if you were actually doing this, we would go through the entire form to fill that out first. And then you can click Save and Close. Make sure there's nothing in here I need to show you guys. Nothing quite yet. All right, we also have on the top right, just a quick note before we continue. On the top right, so let's say that you typically utilize, in the past, let's say you typically use .loop to just fill in the forms. So you like to be able to fill in the forms in order to make it look more professional, but then you just want to print it out so you can go bring the form to your listing agreement, to your listing appointment and have your client hand sign it next to you. You can 100% do that in this system as well. So in practice, you would fill out the entire form first, like we've been doing. You can then come up to this document actions. It looks like a little document at the very top right. It's fitting. And you have some options here for this document specifically. Okay, if you wanted to print that, so bring it on your appointment, of course, that'll be the print option here. Okay, you can delete it as well, and we'll be talking about the DocuSign option. Okay, of course, the whole concept of DocuSign, right, is to be able to type in your form and then send it to your client via email so that they can electronically sign. Okay, so to do that, if you want to do that, you could go ahead and click this DocuSign option, but hold tight on that. I'm going to show you a slightly different way. Okay, so you do have some options here under document actions on the top right. We also have the history on the top right, so you can see what was done on this specific form, right? So this is not all of your room's history, it's just for the specific form, when it was signed, who it was viewed by. We also have some access rights up here, so if you click on the little key on the top right, you can see who will have access to this document, right? So it's the ones that are checked. All right. But for now, let's go ahead and click Save and Close. So I'll click Save and Close. And it will take you back to your document section of your room. Now what I'm going to show you is how you can share multiple documents to be signed at once. So in theory, let's say we had multiple documents in here, right? If you were sending this off, you might have to have them sign the listing agreement and working with real estate agents or whatever it may be called in your area. So to do that, all right, you'll see a little dot on the top left of the form. So I would go ahead and click that form or that dot on the top left and you'll see it checks it. All right, if I had multiple forms I need to send, I would do that to all the forms I need to send off to have DocuSigned. So once I click this, keep an eye on this section right here. You'll notice that when I click this, that's when this pops up, giving you bulk action items here. So, and again, if you hover your mouse over any of these icons, it will tell you exactly what it does. So if in doubt, simply hover your mouse and it will show you that. So you have the option to copy that. So if you need to copy it into a different DocuSign room or move it, so that'll be the same concept, but instead of making a copy of it, it will move it all together. It will move it out of here into another room. So if I click move here, okay, it gives me the option to select on this drop down where I want to move that. Okay, into a different folder, into another active room, under review room, close room, or my docs. Okay, and your docs are at the top here. I'll be showing you that later in class as well. All right, so you do have the option to move the documents. All right, these are these icons right here. We have the option to email that. This DocuSign option is what we're going to utilize in just a moment here, and this is how you would, of course, get your form signed. But we also have on the right-hand side an archive option and an archive option if you need to get that back. But for now, let's go ahead and click on that little pencil, or pen rather, to go ahead and get this DocuSigned. So far in this transaction, we have brought in the form that we want to send off, we edited it, we filled in all the fields, and now we're going to send that off to be DocuSigned. Okay, so I'll click on this little pen icon. And again, if you're not seeing these options at the top of your screen, it's because you do not have any forms checked. So make sure to check it and then click DocuSign. Now, once you click DocuSign, it will move you over into the envelope section. How do I autofill a document that was in a room before info was added? That is a really great question. So if that information is not pulling up, so I assume that you tried to pull it up again and that information did not autofill onto the form. It would have to be an interactive document. So if that is a PDF, it will not autofill onto the form. Correct. Yeah, I'll have to look into that further. If you would like to email support@scottleroymarketing.com, you can put attention my name, which is Leah, and I'd be happy to take a look at that to see if there's a way. I'm not totally sure if there is a way, but that's a really great question. So feel free to email me. I can look into your account and try and figure that out for you. All right. So now for this envelope section here. So what we're doing now is we're essentially stuffing this contract into an envelope and sending that off to your clients to be electronically signed, just to give you a colorful mental picture here. All right, so the envelope name here, you're welcome. You can go ahead and leave that as please DocuSign if you would like to, or you can add anything to that if you would like maybe the person's name and the form name, let's say listing agreement. Okay, because when you go back to the envelope section, you'll see all the different envelopes you sent off. So it's helpful to know, in my opinion, what form it was that you sent off in that situation. So I like adding the form name up here as well. All right, so now I have the form that I am sending off here. I can view that. I can even add more forms to send off here. But where things really get exciting is adding the recipients. Okay, so where we have add recipients to the envelope. All right, all you'll do is click add recipient here, as you might have guessed. And it will give you a few options here. So you can add by email address. So this situation, if you're adding by email address, that would typically be done if you have not already added them to the people section, right? Like we did at the beginning of class. But since we already did that, I'm actually going to select pre-tagged roles. So if you select pre-tagged roles here, it will allow you to, let me show you. So again, click add recipients and then pre-tagged roles. It will allow you to assign each contact to a role. So seller 1, I can go ahead and click here and select my contact from that dropdown. Now the reason that is so important, can you combine rooms? Also a good question. You guys are doing great with these questions. I do not think so. I have not seen an option. I've been exploring DocuSign a lot this past couple weeks, and I have not seen an option. You can move forms. That would actually probably achieve your issue there. So you can move forms from one room to another room, so that you can essentially then archive the room that you do not need. I know Dotloop did have a merge loops option, but I have not seen that in DocuSign. But again, to achieve what you're trying to do, what I would probably do, and I'll point out how to do this later, you can move documents into another room, the room that you're trying to combine into, and then archive the previous room you're not using anymore. So that would probably achieve that for right now. All right, so we have seller 1 here, and again, the reason this is so important is so that the system, DocuSign, knows that Ronald Weasley, right, seller 1, needs to sign where all the seller needs to sign. Okay, and I'll be showing you that in just a second here. But very important to assign roles here so that they can electronically sign. So I'll go ahead and select seller 1, seller 2, and listing agent here, I need to be myself. So again, by doing it this way, it will allow your contact to electronically sign. So this is the best way to do that and save you some work. And click Add Selected. Okay. And that will add in your clients, anyone who is being sent the envelope. All right, so there's a couple extra things here that Dotloop did not have. So first of all, some cool things. So you will see their name and email address here. On the right-hand side, you'll view their rights when they receive the documents. So if they need to sign it, that's typically what you'll leave it on, right? But if you want to add, let's say, your mortgage provider to just view the executed contract, or if you have, let's say, a younger couple and they want their parents to review the document, you can add their parents as well and give them just the ability to view that. Okay? They can also receive a copy here. And then specify recipients, that's an interesting one. I probably wouldn't use that in real estate too much. What that gives your client the ability to do is allow someone else to sign the form in their place, okay? So you probably don't need that. The main one you'll need to do is needs to sign. And on the more option here, we do have the option to set up like a password for them. So if I add access authentication, I can say, okay, in order to view the form, you have to put in this number. So you can see right here, this code is available for you to review on the envelope details page. So you must provide this code to the signer, right? So in order for them to access the document to make this more secure, you can put in a little password here, but again, you would have to tell your client what that password is, okay? But that is a pretty cool feature that they have that Dotloop did not. All right, and you can also private message them. Another feature Dotloop did not have is you can order you can put in order when you want your clients to receive the actual envelope, right, or the form to sign. So let's say I do not want seller 2 to receive the form until seller 1 has signed it. If I add a 2 here instead, that would make that happen. So again, just to overview that, if I put a 2 here, it would not send to my second client until seller 1 signs the document. Okay, so you do have the option to do that as well, which is pretty cool. Or if you leave it all as 1 as it defaults on, they will all receive it at the same exact time, which is perfectly fine as well. On the bottom here, we have the message to all recipients. So this is what it's going to say in the email subject. So you can leave it as just plain as DocuSign, or again, you can change that. Please DocuSign the listing agreement, let's say. And then if you want to put in a message, we could put something like, hello, as we discussed on the phone, here is the listing agreement to sign. Let me know if you have questions. Okay, whatever you want to put in. All right, these aren't required, by the way, guys. You do not have to put in an email message, but you most definitely can. Once I do that, all right, I can come up here. So let's take a look at these actions. All right, so we have some options here. We can copy it. We can delete this envelope. Okay, so you can delete that from here. You can save and close it. So if you're not ready to send this off right yet, if you click save and close, it'll save it as a draft. So you can easily come back to the envelope section to send that off when you're ready. Or in this case, if I am ready, I'll go ahead and click next on the top right. So I'll click next on the top right. Okay, and that will take you over to kind of preview the form that you're sending. All right, so I can scroll through, make sure I filled in all the forms, right? And on the bottom here, and this is really something good to take a look at. So these initials, depending on your form you're looking at, if it requires initials or signatures, it would be the same. So see how these are in 3 different colors here? Now these 3 different colors are corresponding to, if you click on, it's defaulting on my name, so I assume it will default on your name on the top left here, or whatever client is displaying. You can see the contact color that each one is associated to. So for this one, I can see that I will sign the yellow field as the agent, and then I can see my 2 clients will sign these 2 fields, right, because the color corresponds there. All right, so since we already edited this form, it was an interactive form, you don't have to do anything here. You can add additional fields, as you can see on the left-hand side, and I'll be showing you that when we add a PDF in just a moment here. All right, but for right now, since this is an interactive form, we already filled it out. All you have to do from here, guys, is click send. Oh, quick note though that I really like. This recipient preview on the top, like if I want to make sure that my client can sign it, if I click on recipient preview on the top right, I can control which client I'm viewing that as. So let's say I want to view that as my client, Ronald Weasley here. I can view that from a computer, a tablet, or a phone on the top. And I can see what it would look like when my client goes to sign. So this is exactly what it looks like for your clients. They'll click start. It takes them down to the first field to sign, and then they would initial it, and it would take them through the form. Okay, I like to preview this as the client real quick, just so I can confirm that they can actually DocuSign this. They can electronically sign the field. So just a quick note to check that you're doing it correctly. I'll X out of this on the top right. If you click recipient preview, you can view that right away. But in this case, I'll go ahead and click send. All right, and since I am designated, well, to sign that, it was asking if I would like to sign it as well, which typically you can from there. All right, so right here, you would be able to open that and sign it as well, I believe. Let's test that out. So I can see now my envelopes, any envelopes that I have sent out in the past. So if you had one saved as a draft or any sent ones, they'll all be in this envelope section, so you can go back and view that. Okay, this one says needs my signature, so let's test that out together. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. I believe I'll be able to go ahead and sign it. So as the agent, right, you would need to sign the listing agreement. You can go through and actually sign it straight from here. You can also resend it. So if your client says that they did not receive the form, right, you can come into more and resend that right away. You can also void that and some other options as well. All right, pretty cool. Okay, so let me show you real quick how to add a PDF, and so you can learn how to add fields. Okay, I know I'm getting close to the end of class. I do have some other fun things to share with you guys, so if you can stick around, that'd be great. Totally up to you, of course. But if I go back to new on the top right, oops, actually I lied. Instead of that, sorry, we're actually going to go back over to documents. My apologies. So if you did click on new, click the back button. But we're going back to documents, right? Because we're going to add a PDF in. Okay, so if you do not have interactive documents in your DocuSign account quite yet, you can add PDFs right away. You can also, in general, just add a PDF. So if you get, let's say, an offer from an agent at a different brokerage and it is signed by her clients and it's a PDF, right? You get that via email, you have a PDF of the offer, but now you need your clients to go ahead and sign that, okay? That's when you would use this situation mostly. All right, so steps to do that is I would click on Add on the very top right. And again, if I lost you, sorry about that, I am in the document section here. I am coming up to Add on the top blue toolbar. And now I'm going to select Computer, all right, because I have this offer saved on my computer. So if you want to follow along, feel free to pull in a PDF or you can just watch on my screen. That's totally fine. So I'll click Computer. It will browse my computer where I can double click on the form to bring that in right away. Now you'll notice the little icon on my form is different, right? This one's showing me that's a PDF, whereas this one is showing me it's a form, meaning it's interactive, meaning I can just start typing in it, right? That's the difference. And just a heads up, if you don't like the way this document view is, like this preview, you can always select on the top right. You can change that to a list view, which looks slightly more like .loop if you feel more comfortable with that, or you can do the grid view as well on the top right. So either option, totally up to you. Okay, but let's take a look at editing a PDF within DocuSign. So you'll notice the biggest difference in this, if I click on the PDF, right, I am not able to just start typing in this form. All right, unlike the interactive form, right, the example we just did, I was able to start typing in, whereas this is a PDF, so I cannot just start typing in it. All right, but I will be showing you how you can edit this further. So of course, on the top right, we have very similar actions here as we did with the interactive form, so you can take a look at that. You can also split the PDF on the top right, which is pretty cool. So if you have the entire PDF in one bulk file, you can split that if that needs to be two separate files, for example. But for now, I'm just going to X out of it on the top right. I just wanted to show you that you cannot edit it right from here. You do have to actually send it off as an envelope to be able to edit a PDF. So let's go through these steps again. It's really great for you guys to practice on this. So I would go ahead and click the check mark on the top left in order to select that. When I do, it will give me these bulk actions at the top, where right the DocuSign icon is the one that looks like a pen, so that is indicating that you need to get this signed. So I'll go ahead and click DocuSign. And it will take me to create an envelope, right, where this should look familiar to you. We can add our recipients in, okay, and since this is a PDF, it does not give me the option to assign roles like we did on the last one, so you can either select from room participants, which we'll be doing, or add them by email address if you don't already have them in your room. So I'll go ahead and click room participants, and I can go ahead and select my clients to be added in. All right, click Add Selected. Okay, and all this concept will be the exact same, right? So that's the same exact thing, but to show you how to edit the PDF, I'll go ahead and click Next on the top right. Okay, and this is where you can actually edit the PDF if you need to. So on the left-hand side, you'll see a bunch of different fields that you can lay down. Okay, so if I need to put in the street address, let's say. Now you'll notice this is not auto-filling because it is a PDF, just in case you're wondering why the street address isn't already there like it was on the last form. So in a PDF, it's extra work. You would have to go ahead and click Text on the left-hand side, right? These are all the fields that you can put in. It will start following my mouse, which I can then click to drop that. So I can see the text here. On the right-hand side, that's where I can actually put in the text that I want to display. Okay, and as you can see, that did not fit all there. So to expand that text box, I'll simply hover my mouse over one of the little dots on the corners so I can click to drag that out. Okay. So that's how you can add any text boxes, you can add check boxes as well, and so forth. So if you add in things right here, this will autofill. So like name or email address. When I go ahead, right, because I put the email address for this contact in the details section. So, okay, obviously this is not where the email address goes. I'm just going to put it there so I can show you guys later how that actually will fill in the email address. Okay, so just use your imagination that this is an email field. All right, but the big thing that you will need to do on a PDF is you have to put initial fields. So again, this example, an agent on the other side of the transaction sent an offer to purchase via email, and it's a PDF, right? PDF means not editable usually. So I now need to send this off to my clients to be able to sign it. So in order for them to sign it, you would have to add signature and initial fields. And this is only if it's a PDF, right? The interactive form that we did just a minute ago, that has all this on there. So this is some extra work, but it's not too tricky here. All you would do is click, let's say, initials. All right, it's following my mouse, and I can simply click to drop it. Now, coming back to the whole color situation that we were looking at for our clients, you'll notice this is yellow. So this is saying that my contact right here, this client, Connie Bass, can sign this field. But if I want my other client, Ronald Weasley, to sign it, I need to change that first. So I would need to change the drop down over to Ron, and you'll notice all these fields change color. So I can select the initial box and drop that right away. So in theory, to make your life a little easier, I would probably recommend going through the entire form to drop all of one client's at the bottom of each page, initial box, and then you can go back and do the same thing for the second client, right? So you don't have to keep switching back and forth. Okay, same concept with signature fields that will need to be added if you need your client to sign it. If it's a PDF only is when you have to do this extra step here. Okay, and when you're done with filling this out and adding the initial fields, again, we have this recipient preview option on the top right so that you can confirm you set it up correctly for your client to sign. And once you're ready, you can go ahead and click send on the top right. And that will send it to your client via email. What about counter off? Great question. Let's see. The question is, what about counter offers? Is there a strike through feature? Let's see if I can click back real quick. Okay, I cannot. One second. Let's go through and see if that is one of the options there. Sorry, hang tight, guys. All right, if you're still in there, you would be able to see all options on the left-hand side of different fields that you can add in. So if there's not a strike-through option, then there's probably not available, but let's see if we can find a workaround either way. So hang tight, I'm just going to answer this question real quick, and then I'll just show you a few settings items and how to add your forms to the opportunity section. All right, drum roll, please. Let's see on the left-hand side. Yeah, I'm not seeing a strike-through option like you had in .loop, which is I'm sure why you're referencing that. But let's see if we can instead use a text box and then strike it through like that. Markup tools, awesome. Let's see, where is that? Aha. Wow, great job. All right, we do have a strike through. Thank you so much. You are good. All right, so we do have the strike through, and how I got there was clicking on the markup tools option on the left-hand side. Thank you so much for answering that question. And it will give you the line option, which you can then strike it through, and then in theory, lay a text box. Let's see if I can get this to move. Then lay a text box down so you can type in their correct name, let's say. Okay, awesome. All right, so that is how you would go about handling a counteroffer situation. Thanks so much for helping, guys. All right, I'm going back now. Okay. All right, let me get back home. All right, so a couple more things we need to do in class here. I just need to take you through the settings so you know how to add things like your headshot in as well. All right, so in order to access settings, generally any account that you're in, the settings will be on the very top right. So I'm going to go ahead, if you don't have your headshot in, it will just be like a little dude in a circle here. So you can go ahead and click on that and click on the settings option. So again, either your headshot on the top right or just the outline of a little guy, and then settings from that drop down. All right, so here we do have a few items that we can edit, like our default office if you're a part of more than one market center. Our company name you can add in, you can change your time zone as well. So that's in pre-profile, right? Not too many exciting things to update there. All right, email and password. So on the left-hand side, this is where you can change your password. Let's go ahead, I'm just going down this menu here to show you guys around real quick. Contact information, this is where you can go to add in your contact information, so it will autofill onto items like the listing agreement where it requires your information as a listing agent. So make sure that you have your phone number entered in and your address here as well. I'm sorry, I know I'm not giving you too much time to do this, but jot down notes on how you got here so you can come back and edit this. A little pressed for time. So we have our notifications as well. So if you would like to be notified via email of any of these items, okay, or if you find you're getting inundated with DocuSign notifications, you can also turn off these notifications from here. Inbox details. This is a cool one. All right, so your inbound email. So you are able to email into DocuSign into this inbox. So you'll notice in my inbox I have a little 1 because I was practicing with this. So you can email into this inbox. So if you're on the go and you get an offer, let's say via email as a PDF, you can forward that email to this email address, and you can change this. Off default, I think it's something super funky. So if you change this right here to something like your first and last name, whatever you want it to be, your entire email would be your first dot last name at mail.docusign.net. Okay, so if you send any emails with an attachment of a PDF specifically, okay, it has to be a PDF. It cannot be like a picture file from what I've seen. All right, so if you have a PDF and send it to this email, it will go into the inbox section here. Okay, you can also email directly into a room as well, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second. Okay, so that is how you can go about emailing into DocuSign and also editing your account settings. Let's take a look at these options here, and I'll show you also how to email into a room. So if I click on the dashboard option up here, we haven't really looked at this quite yet. So go ahead and click on this dashboard option. And that will kind of show you an overview of what you have going on in DocuSign. So it will show you all of your rooms that you have going, right? Or some of the rooms you have going rather. Your recently viewed ones, so you can access those quickly. Any signing activity going on, and you can notice that you can view all right here as well. Any new messages you have or any new comments can be viewed here as well. Now moving on to the right hand side, we have our rooms on the top. And that will purely show you all of your DocuSign rooms, right? This is where we were just a moment ago. And you can just double click or click on any of these items to go into your room right away. Okay, this is kind of like the .loop homepage where you can view all your loops, right? You can see any active, reviewed loops, or closed loops from here as well. We have our inbox. Oh, and while we're in here, let me show you real quick how you can email directly into a room, because this is a pretty cool feature. And I'll be making a tip video on this as well after class, like a 10-minute tip video. So if you would like that, it'll be up on slmtraining.com. I'll be showing you exactly how to do this step by step. But how you can email into a room. So let's say, again, you were emailed a PDF of an offer to purchase and you're on the go and you need to get that added to your room, okay, or just the quickest way to do it would be all you have to do. So this ID right here, this room ID, you'll notice if you hover your mouse over that room ID, it says copy and paste this room ID number into your email subject in order to send documents into this room. So literally you can do just that. Attach the document to an email, or forward it rather. And if you just put this ID number in the subject line, it will send it directly into your room here. So that's pretty cool. From what I've seen, I was practicing with this yesterday, you have to include ID, like this whole section that I have highlighted, include all of that, not just the number, from what I saw yesterday when I was practicing with that. So just a quick tip on that. All right, so that's how you can email directly into a room, or if you just go to your inbox here on the top, right here is my DocuSign email address. So if I just send an email to this email address in general without an ID number in the subject, it will go in here, and then I can easily move this. So once it's in your inbox here, you can click on that checkbox, and then you can move that into your room. Okay, sorry if that was a little fast. I'm clicking that move icon right here. So I can move it from here over to the actual room that I want. So let's say an active room. And then I can select what the room is called. And click move. And that will move it out of the inbox into your room. All right, you can also view your docs here so that you can set up folders. Like I added this listing folder so I could add templates to that if I would like to. So this is my personal section here, but we also have the forms section. And that will allow you to view, again, these are added in by your office staff, right? Your market center is working with DocuSign to get all your forms to be interactive and in your DocuSign account. So if you don't see any, those are to come, right? But you might hopefully see some of those in there now. All right, so you can view that from the form section. All right, so the last thing I'm going to show you in today's class, and then I'll let you go enjoy your Thursday. This is an important one, so thanks for sticking around. I'm actually going to switch tabs. So I'm going back to Command. I have that open in a separate tab. You should too, unless you X'd out of it. But let's go back into Command, where I am in my opportunity already, and I see all these document placeholders. Okay. So again, I just switch tabs, not to throw anyone for a loop here. Switch tabs. And now I can see from here, right, on the left-hand side, I see different folders, listing, under contract, and closed, okay? In case you're really confused about what these are just placeholders. So this is kind of giving you like a checklist of all the forms that you need to add in order to be compliant, okay? Your Market Center staff sets this up, so yours won't look like mine, right? This is all North Carolina and specific to my Market Center. All right, so this is a checklist for you. So what I would do, let's say in today's class, we worked on a listing agreement, right? So I have that in DocuSign. I just need to pull that over into my Command opportunity in order to submit that to my Market Center. So what I would do is I would click Add a File on the right-hand side of the form I'm trying to bring in. So Add a File. You can, of course, bring this in from your computer. So if you have scanned the document and it is on your computer, you can most definitely add it from there. So you just click right here, you can drag and drop it. But in this case, I'll click on DocuSign option. Do we have to have a room in DocuSign even with our opportunities? So when you create an opportunity within Command, it will create a room in DocuSign for you. I know that's not quite your question. So if you are using a different system, so let's say you're still using .loop or whatever you may be using right now, or you just have all your forms, you do not technically have to use DocuSign. DocuSign will be used to, get your clients to electronically sign something. But if you already have the document signed on your computer, you can simply just click manual, or if it's in .loop, you could download it to your computer first. All right, select the manual option, and then just add your forms from here. So if you don't have to get your form signed, then no, you don't technically have to use DocuSign. Hopefully that answered your question. All right, so since I have this form in DocuSign, I'm going to click the DocuSign Awesome. Glad to hear it. I'll go ahead and click on the DocuSign option, and then I have my forms, right? These are the 2 forms we're practicing in class, so you should see your forms. I can click on that option and click Assign. Okay. Once I do that, it will show that I have the form added in here, and it will give me right here that it has been uploaded. So in theory, you would want to add all of these placeholders. You would want to see uploaded by each one of them. And then you will be able to click Submit to MCA on the very top right, or MC, sorry. And that will submit it to your Market Center for review so they can check over everything and give you that lovely commission check, our favorite part of real estate. All right, but again, just to overview this, you can go back to DocuSign by clicking Go to Transactions. So in theory, the Opportunities section is being used as your transaction management side, right? You can see where your contact is or the opportunity is in the sales pipeline. You add your documents here to send it off for review. And then DocuSign is being used to literally either edit your documents if you would like, right, to type those in and send it to your clients to electronically sign that. So hopefully that clears things up a little bit. If you have any questions as you're going through all that, of course, that's what we're here for. Feel free to email support@scottleroymarketing.com. We'd be more than happy to help you out with this transition over to DocuSign. All right, guys, so that was a class on DocuSign 101, some of the basics. Play around with it, click around, and that will definitely help you learn it right away. All right, guys, have a great rest of your day. Take care.